Imagine you're in the middle of chaos. The world around you seems to be falling apart. Plans are failing. People disappoint you. Emotions boil inside like a fire that's hard to extinguish. In that moment when everything seems out of control, you have two paths. Let yourself be dragged by the storm or become its firm center. His is where Stoicism is born, a millennial philosophy that not only withstood the test of time, but has become more vital than ever today. The foundation of Stoicism, the great Stoics, didn't seek fame or wealth. They pursued something more powerful, mastery of themselves, because they understood a life-changing truth. You cannot control what happens, but you can control how you respond. His is the root of real power and true success. In this content, you won't just discover 12 Stoic principles. You'll stop reacting with anger, anxiety, or fear and start acting with clarity, purpose, and composure. ACH principle is a key that brings you closer to a stronger, freer, and more conscious version of yourself. Success is not about controlling the world. It's about controlling yourself. Principle 1. Master your reaction. Not the situation. The external world is uncertain, changeable, and often indifferent to your desires. Circumstances can become chaotic without warning. A betrayal, a loss, a failure, or an unexpected turn. No matter how much you try to control what happens outside of you, there's one unchanging truth. Your reaction is always in your hands. Stoicism doesn't ask you to submit, but to govern your interior with firmness. Instead of wearing yourself out trying to change what escapes your control, the wise person trains their mind to respond with clarity, serenity, and purpose. What others do or say can hurt you, but only if you give them the power to do so. Mastering your reaction is recovering sovereignty over yourself. When you react with wisdom, you not only protect yourself from unnecessary harm, but strengthen yourself. The primary impulse might be to shout, blame, flee, or give in to anger. But the Stoic pauses, breathes, and chooses to act from reason. Herein lies true strength, not in controlling the environment, but in self-mastery. Anyone who masters their reaction is not indifferent or passive, but conscious. They don't repress what they feel. They transform it because they understand that yielding to unbridled emotion is surrendering their freedom, and allowing others to dictate their emotional state is living as a slave. Principle 2. Adversity is your teacher. Imagine for a moment how a sword is forged. It's not created in comfort or rest, but under intense fire and constant blows. The metal becomes stronger with each impact, until it becomes a sharp and indestructible blade. The same happens with you. Without adversity, you'll never develop the strength you need to achieve success. Most people see problems as punishments, as signs that something is wrong. They complain, give up, or seek to escape. The Stoics understood that every challenge is a test, an opportunity to grow. Think about the strongest people you know. You believe they became that way without facing difficulties. Every great leader, athlete, or thinker has gone through dark moments. The difference between them and others isn't that they avoided adversity, but that they used it as fuel to move forward. When life hits you, instead of asking, why me? Ask yourself a better question. What can I learn from this? Adversity teaches you patience, resilience, discipline, and humility. It forces you to discover what you're made of and develop an unbreakable character. Difficult moments will pass, but what you learn from them will remain forever. ACH Overcome Test is an improved version of yourself. The next time you face a challenge, instead of resisting, accept it, face it, and grow through it. Iron doesn't destroy metal, it forges it. Adversity doesn't break you, it transforms you. Principle 3. Accept what you cannot control. Imagine you're in the middle of the sea fighting a storm. The waves are enormous, the wind is relentless, and the current drags you. You have two options. Fight with all your strength against the ocean, wear yourself out and possibly sink, or accept the situation, adapt, and use the current to your advantage. In life, many things escape our control. Others' behavior, the economy, weather, the passage of time, even death. Most people spend their energy resisting the inevitable, getting angry about things they can't change, feeling like victims of life. This only generates unnecessary suffering. The Stoics understood this perfectly. Marcus Aurelius said, "If something external disturbs you, the problem isn't in the thing itself, but in how you perceive it." In other words, suffering doesn't come from reality, but from our resistance to it. Principle 4. Choose reason over emotion. Imagine you're in a chess game and someone just made an aggressive move against you. If you act impulsively, moving pieces without thinking, you'll only worsen your position. If you stay calm, analyze the board, and respond strategically, the advantage will be yours. Ife works the same way. Whoever gets carried away by anger, fear, or frustration loses control and makes bad decisions. Stoics taught that the mind must govern over emotions because emotions are temporary, but their consequences can last forever. Think about how many times you've said something you later regretted just because you were upset, or how many times fear prevented you from taking an opportunity that could have changed your life. Emotions are part of us, but they shouldn't dictate our destiny. This doesn't mean you should ignore them, but learn to observe them without reacting immediately. Marcus Aurelius said, "If something external alters you, it's not because of the thing itself, but because of the judgment you make about it, and you have the power to change that judgment." When you feel anger, fear, or anxiety, stop, breathe, reflect. Ask yourself, is this emotion helping me or clouding my judgment? Take a moment before responding, before acting, before making a decision you might later regret. Clear mind always wins. Whoever masters their emotions masters their life. Principle 5. Focus on the essential in a world that constantly demands your attention. The real challenge isn't doing more, but learning to discard the unnecessary. Mind scattered among 1,000 tasks, thoughts, and desires loses strength, clarity, and direction. Stoic understands that not everything deserves their time or energy. Therefore, they cultivate the art of conscious choice, prioritizing what has true value and letting go of what only distracts. Focusing on the essential isn't renouncing the world, but living with intention. Taking the helm of your own life and directing it toward a firm purpose without being dragged by noise, others' urgency, or the seduction of the superficial. Acting with clarity, not by impulse, with meaning, not by habit. Whoever follows this principle doesn't seek to fill their day with occupations, but to give weight and meaning to each act. Principle 6. Don't depend on others' approval. Imagine you build a house brick by brick with all the effort and dedication you have. Instead of feeling satisfied with your work, you decide to ask every person passing by for their opinion. He says the door is too big, another that the wall color is inappropriate, and yet another that the structure isn't ideal. This is how it works when we depend on others' approval. Very time you seek validation from others, you move away from who you really are and what you really want. People make judgments based on their own values, insecurities, and beliefs, not on your true worth. Theirs approval is volatile. It changes according to the mood and circumstances of whoever gives it to you. That's why it cannot define your worth. Stoics taught us to be owners of our own lives and trust our internal judgment. Marcus Aurelius affirmed that what others think of you is irrelevant. What matters is what you think of yourself. If you base your happiness and sense of success on others' opinions, you'll always be at their mercy. Principle 7. Do what's right even when no one is watching. Imagine you're walking on a lonely forest path and suddenly find a lost wallet on the ground. Here's no one around to see what you do. One will know if you decide to keep it or return it. What do you choose to do? True virtue isn't measured by the amount of applause or recognition you receive, but by your actions when no one is watching you. It's easy to be good when everyone is looking at you, but the real test of your character comes when you're alone, without witnesses. Stoics knew that a person's true value is measured by their capacity to act correctly regardless of circumstances. Seneca said, "True greatness is doing what's right not to receive applause, but because it's what should be done." If you act only to impress others or obtain external rewards, your virtue is superficial and dependent on others' opinions. Genuine virtue is born from within, from a tranquil conscience, from the desire to do right simply because it's right. Principle 8. Be the owner of your thoughts. Imagine your mind is a garden and you are the gardener. Very thought you let in is like a seed you plant. If you let weeds like negative thoughts grow, your garden will fill with weeds. If you plant positive and constructive thoughts, you'll see a space full of peace and clarity flourish. The power of the human mind is extraordinary, but so is its capacity to deviate if you don't take control. Principle 9. Less words, more action. Imagine you're in front of a great mountain, and instead of climbing it, you spend hours describing how it is, how big it is, or how difficult it will be to reach the top. Oh, you talk and talk, but don't advance a single step. What do you achieve in the end? Nothing. Words, although useful for communicating ideas, never replace the power of action. The tendency to talk excessively, to justify our intentions, or to procrastinate by explaining what we're going to do instead of doing it is a destructive habit that consumes our energy. Epictetus said, "Speaking is easy, but acting requires effort." If you spend more time explaining your goals than working on them, you'll never see results. MPTY promises, justifications, endless discussions about what you could do only take you away from real progress. Principle 10. Patience is an unbreakable virtue. We live in an era where everything seems to happen quickly. In swerves, results, rewards, everything is expected immediately. True greatness never comes hastily. If you look at nature, everything follows its own rhythm. Tree doesn't grow overnight, but its slow and constant growth is what makes it strong and resistant. Seneca affirmed, "Haste is the enemy of wisdom." Anxiety for immediate results only leads us to make impulsive decisions, abandon projects before time, and get frustrated by inevitable obstacles. Principle 11. Self-discipline is the key to true freedom. Imagine your life is a boat. External circumstances, others' opinions, unexpected challenges, social pressures are the waves and wind trying to divert your course. Self-discipline is the helm that allows you to stay firm, controlling your direction and remaining at peace regardless of what happens around you. As Epictetus said, "It's not things that disturb us, but our opinion about them." The more control you have over your thoughts, emotions, and actions, the less you'll depend on external factors to feel balanced or calm. Principle 12. Don't suffer in your mind more than necessary. How many times do we find ourselves anticipating problems that never happen or imagining the worst scenarios? The human mind has a natural tendency to magnify problems, creating mountains of difficulties from small hills. Seneca said, "Most of what we fear never happens." How many times have we spent hours, days, or even weeks worrying about something that never occurred or that, when it happened, wasn't as serious as we thought? The key is to face problems with clarity, without letting the mind get out of control. If something is really a problem, act in the present to solve it. If you can't change it, accept reality as it is. Conclusion: success is not a matter of luck, but of character. Very time you apply one of these principles, you're taking a firm step toward that calmer and more powerful version of yourself. Remember, true freedom isn't the absence of rules or responsibilities, but the capacity to live in peace without letting circumstances determine your mood or direction.